Good afternoon from Lombok, everyone. It's Cindy from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy breathing and mindful actions. Today I am in my new location in Lombok. It's in Simgigi, and it's a beautiful, beautiful location, but I'm pretty close to a street in this particular spot. And I hope that you'll be able to hear what I'm sharing with you over the noise of any traffic that might go by. Today I want to talk about teaching and learning in a different way, that something has to change. If you notice, there are less students that are excited about going to school and more students who feel they should, or it's what the parents feel that the children should. Either way, there's a different sort of style of going into education these days. So I thought I'd start with this quotation first, which says, "If we teach today as we taught yesterday, then we rob our children of tomorrow." I'll say that one more time. If we teach today as we taught yesterday, then we rob our children of tomorrow. And one of the things I'd like to bring up in this video again is the fact that a lot of our teaching has lost a spiritual component. The spiritual component, of course, is very much in my mind and has been for many years. Right now in Lombok, again, there's a lot of religious practices, which I don't necessarily believe are spiritual, but they have the same root. It is spiritual, the intention behind it. But if we even teach spirituality as we taught yesterday, if we're teaching spirituality today as we taught yesterday, we'd say, learn whatever book. It could be the Bible, it could be the Quran, it could be the Torah, could be everything. Learn everything and see what you'd like to do. And truly, I would say that most religions even encourage this for people's true learning about spirituality. And then what happens is we're kind of afraid that if a child is learning too much, kind of like language, we want our child to learn the language we speak, so we teach that language as we've always taught it. And you know that when you're growing up in a family which is speaking a particular language, it's not that you have to have formal education, it just becomes part of our natural course of understanding. Then we might learn how to write it, we might learn how to communicate in terms of a letter or a conversation. So that will come with time, and often that is with experience too. But if I want my child to learn many languages, in the past, many would say that no, make sure you know this language. So for example, English became very, very central. And today I see lots of people here that really feel when they do not know English that they're missing out on something. And yes, everything that we learn allows us to have one more tool to interact with the world. When we're thinking about this again, if we teach today as we taught yesterday, today we know that even if you teach a child 2 or 3 languages in childhood, they can handle it. It's we who couldn't handle it. And we were so worried that, oh no, what if they start combining words? And kids will, adults will too. We learn a different language and we start combining French words with, let's say, Spanish words, and it's so similar and it's easy to mix up, yet that's the process of learning. And children seem to be able to manage that quite well. So we've learned this over time. So we don't teach today as we did yesterday. So a lot of schools actually in Canada even encourage both French and English, that if you want to take French as an option, you can. You can take English as the basic language that we're teaching in. And there's no concern about, oh, everyone has to do it or everyone should do it or maybe should not do it. That fear of, oh no, what if they know this? Partly because people know that having more than one language at our convenient tool chest or in our convenient tool chest is just very helpful because it just opens more doors, especially in our minds though. So we can see that we can learn 2 things at one time or close to one time, and it still takes some practice and effort. Now I of course want to focus on healthcare and hospitality, and this too. If we teach today as we taught yesterday, then we rob our children of tomorrow. So yesterday we thought that, it's really important that we have return business. That's the most important thing. And I'm going to say, even though I'm focusing on these 2 professions, it's true for every profession. How do I make sure I have the next client? How do I make sure I have the next whatever? So in healthcare, I know many people started adding bells and whistles to their practices to show how different they are from another practice. And that's perfect if it's a space from the heart. What we never taught is how to work from a space of the heart. And this is interesting because it became very task oriented. Can you do this? How fast can you do it? How many times can you do it? How many people can you see in how much time? This happens in hospitality too. How many rooms are rented? Did you rent any more rooms? Are you talking to people? You're spreading the news about this hotel or this place that you're working in to make sure that we get more customers. And there's nothing about working from the heart. So then I thought, what has made or allowed me to go in this direction? And I do know that it is true alignment in terms of my soul's purpose here on earth. I say on earth, but I just feel that souls are everywhere. This soul energy is quite powerful. And of course, I've been working on building and understanding. And it's a space that I feel that all of us have, or no, I shouldn't say all of us, I won't generalize it, many people have forgotten about. I'll work on that spiritual side when I've got this schooling finished, when I've got this job, when I've got this much money, when I've got marriage, I've got a child, okay, maybe 2 children, okay, maybe 1 more child. Then I need a house, and then I need a car, and all of these things are, when that finishes, I'll come back to spirituality, and spirituality is really beneficial in every step of the process. So even from starting school, very, very useful for how we approach schooling. So I found this wonderful quotation by Carl Jung. It says, when the soul begins to stir, it is the wild ones who arrive first, bearing messages too old for words and too true to ignore. I'll say that again. When the soul begins to stir, it is the wild ones who arrive first, bearing messages too old for words and too true to ignore. And I guess I have some level of wildness in me, and I suspect many of us do. But those of us who are just daring enough to think a little bit outside of the box, or creative enough, I wouldn't even say daring, although it does take courage, I believe, when we're being taught in a particular way, we're working in a particular way, and we see something, and as you know, I believe it's an awakening process that reminds us that, wait a minute, is this what my soul wants? And I do feel that my soul is directing me today, and has been for all my life. I'm just more aware now. So before I, the soul, really felt that this mind had the control. This mind gets to think about all the pros and cons of any situation, any steps taken, and then local society and culture and everything, teaching in our environment. This is just how things are done. That was all the learning that this mind gathered. And then this soul, who I am, felt that's who I am. This is how I think. No, this is how this mind thinks, and this mind has been shaped by so much environmental influences, whether it's past genetics, whether it's current genetics, whether it's friends, whether it's colleagues, whether it's the cities I've grown up in. All of that combines not only my experiences, it's also the experiences of my ancestors, right? So my ancestors have come through my parents as energies and experiences that then also shape me, because I hear some stories about things that have happened in my parents' generation. And again, as I learn those things, my mind knows those things. That's the knowledge this mind gains. And then I, the soul, get confused about that's me, that's who I am, that's my community, that's my history, that's who I am. It's true, it's what this mind-body's experience is. Yet, when the soul starts beginning to stir, and it does happen for anyone who starts questioning things, and you know that in our society all over the world, we're often discouraged from, we're not encouraged to ask questions or too many questions. So whether this is in schooling systems or whether this is in educational processes that are higher education, or whether this is in home and family, whether it's in our community, in our country, we're not encouraged to ask questions that are just questions. Oftentimes because there aren't answers to the things that are unknown, and then we're afraid of going into the unknown, and we think, oh, if I stay, you get the enjoyment of the noise with me today. If I stay in what's familiar and what's known, which I think is known, and of course nothing is guaranteed in what's known, because we know that with schools, budgetary changes happen, governments have budgetary changes, there's unrest in so many different people, and that includes the people that are teaching us. And if souls are stirring, even at that level, they'll start looking within. When we start looking within, we start understanding and experiencing things that are beyond words. This is this whole message is too old for words. These messages too old for words are the experience that only a person can experience individually, and yet can be guided through how to get there. This and too true to ignore. So this message is too true to ignore. Believe me, once you've had a significant awakening, and I don't believe this is a one-time shot, by the way. This is what this mind is learning over time too. It's again and again and again. And once we become aware that we've had an awakening process, we can see that when our soul is evolving to another level, we have another awakening. When we're evolving to another level, this is the soul's desire that when we are aligned with this is divinity, when this intention from divinity comes through our mind, our body, we will see that we speak a certain way, we understand a certain way, we have compassion and love in a certain way, that it's just not possible without that alignment. I thought I'd also mention this quotation to again bring us back to the areas that I'd like us to focus on. For again, I do not feel that it's limited to these areas, but it says here, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Service. So again, I'm talking about service industries, and I will say majority of professions are in some service industry. Serving people in terms of helping. We can look at technology is a service, and that's constantly changing and evolving. We can say that teaching is a service, hospitality is a service, healthcare is a service. And when we lose ourselves would be our egos of, look how good I did, and look how many people I've helped. And no, when we're aligned with soul or divine energy, when the soul is guiding us, we're not interested in those numbers. We're not interested so much in the popularity, the fame, the fortune, and yet it arrives in its right timing. And there is a peace in the mind which is needed for this process, which allows all of these things to flow through our experience. So this is something I would love for us to remember. When we lose ourselves in the service of others, by the way, again, this is a Mahatma Gandhi quote, and I want to make sure that we understand that when we're losing ourselves in the service of others, it is literally about seeing, what do others need from me? What do they need from me? Not what's in it for me. And as you know, some of you already know that there's a term called 3D living, and this is what we're living today, where it's very much about, and this is all over the world too, I'll help you know if you haven't been to other countries. Look carefully without bias, objectively, and see how similar we all are. So it's in this phase of, I need to do this for me. I have bills to pay. I have children to feed. I have to get my own food, and I need to do this. So I start with myself, and then I move into my family, and I move into my community, and then I move into my country, and then maybe if I've got some extra, I go into others. So when we look at hospitality and healthcare, today, if you can see, it's a small world. I'll just let that type go by. In every field, in every discipline, service from divine energy to any other person. I won't give the same service. And unless I'm mindfully aware that I don't, I'm still worried about me and mine, then I am not the best at my healthcare or hospitality services. Today, I'd like us to focus on this awareness that no matter what field we're in, I'd love us to, we don't need to do anything. If we would like to change the current direction of things, where we're seeing so much more selfishness, so much more self-centeredness, so much more I don't have enoughness, we can see we have enough. And it begins with ourselves of what am I willing to let go of. So the next video for my series here, or my current, I think Lumbach space, I believe what's arising right now is about letting go. And I've had a lot of experience in letting go. It doesn't mean that it makes the experience easier, by the way, but letting go is much less easy than holding on to something or acquiring more. And what we're living right now in the world is that I hold on to what I believe is mine and I acquire more. And then I will only help others hold something that I have if I'm willing to let go, aren't I? So even if I have enough and I want more, I'm not going to let it go. And we can understand this is happening all over the world. So again, whether we think politically, whether we think professionally, this is happening, whether we think personally, in families, this is happening too. We need to be able to let go. And then I finally thought I'd finish with this quotation, which says, if you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. If you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. And this is a big statement. This is by Lao Tzu. And this idea is truth. It's honestly, nothing is ours. If you are spiritual or religious, and it doesn't even matter if you're an atheist or you don't ever look at spiritual things, you will have some awareness that, yeah, everything changes. As I said, everything does change. And I can't hold on to my age. So as I age, I have to let go of my previous ages. As the day ends and a new day begins, I have to let go of the day that ended to begin my new day. So in this, all things do change. Because we know this, we know it intellectually, we know it with reasoning that everything changes and there's nothing you will try to hold on to. And it's interesting, when we truly understand this truth, we won't try to hold on to stuff. We won't try to hold on to opinions, judgments, beliefs. We won't try to hold on to pains, grievances, hurts, angers, disputes. We won't try to hold on to joys either, by the way. Oh no, that might not sound so good now. I'm going to tell you that this is a beautiful path, and I am going to be encouraging us to try to walk together in it. Today, I definitely want to talk about teaching in a different way than what we've done yesterday. Today, I encourage you, an open mind, to teach new today in a way that's different than yesterday, in a way that's more compassionate, more loving, more, I'll say 5D. I wish you a fabulous day or night ahead, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life, everyone.